Hey everybody, Scott Loridge here, one of the co-authors of Spiritual Rhythms for the Enneagram, written by my wife Claire Loridge, Doug and Adele Calhoun, and myself. Today I want to talk to you for a little bit about the Style 9. I'm actually Style 9 myself. Style 9 is the peacemaker, and these are the people that just bring this kind of stillness to troubled waters in our lives. They're known for consistency and stability. They're ambassadorial. They are harmonizers. And at the same time, when not our best self, we can be conflict avoidant at all costs. Conflict is just the thing that we are not looking for in any way. We can be minimizers. My wife Claire jokes around at times and says that I have the ability to make a molehill out of any mountain. That is so true of me. And that can be problematic, right? When there's real mountains that we're facing, that's not a good thing. Nines can be mergers and kind of lose themselves in situations, and they certainly can self-ignore, and that's really one of the things that we want to talk about is coming awake to desire, which is a real challenge for the 9, is to be awake to their own desires, their own wants and needs. The 9s can be described as sleepwalkers, as procrastinators, as meanderers. I'm going to try not to meander in this short video here. 9s are kind of peace at any price type of people. Peace is the issue. So if they do go into conflict, which ultimately they will, they'll avoid. But if the only way back to peace is through conflict, then they'll go into conflict. They can clearly be awake to others, 9s, because they are ambassadorial, because they do value, seem to have this intrinsic value of opinions of others, and they can hold that, and they're great in a room where there's various opinions and conversations going on, being able to kind of bring it together. But in the midst of that, they can be empathetic and awake to others, but not so empathetic and awake to themselves. So that's where the challenge comes, is they can see all the needs of everybody else and almost the desires of other people, but not so much themselves. Now, sometimes this starts, or many times this starts, if not always, starts during childhood, their childhood experience, where maybe in their family system or in the structure that they were in, there may have been some kind of turmoil, and subconsciously they begin to respond to that by paying attention to the turmoil and then reducing the importance of what's going on in their own life. It may show up like this. They may have had parents, for instance, that there was a lot of arguing, or maybe it was a situation that was leading to divorce, or divorce ultimately happened, or a sibling that was really challenged or troubled. So they noticed the turmoil going on there. Could have happened in a classroom situation or on a team. Whatever the scenario may be, the situation, they saw the situation and were living in the midst of that, and subconsciously respond to the desires or the needs outwardly of others, and begin to withdraw their own desires and their own need in order to keep peace and calm. So at an early stage, desire begins to be subdued, because what they'll say is the desire or the needs of these other situations are way more important than the desires or needs in my own life. And then this just continues to be supported throughout. Now they'll live and support this and bolster this because there's kind of a measure of simplicity that will happen in a 9's life. And it will just happen like this. It's just basically, if I remove my own desire and my own needs from, say, a relationship or a situation, it will reduce the complexity and the conflict of the situation. So the answer becomes remove your own desire, remove your own wants and needs, and all of a sudden it keeps peace out here. And that's the best way to maintain that. Obviously, at a certain point, that won't be the truth, but they'll try to maintain that for a while. Now, the sacred idea for a 9 is holy harmony. But what we need to remember as 9s is the sacred idea is not holy avoidance or the avoidance of our desire. It's holy harmony. So how do we come into harmony in a holy way in order to live in a way that we get in touch with our desire, and also we come alive and awake to that, and also bring our best self. So we need to move to our 6 and just engage our head. So as 9s, we're gut people, we're body people. We engage our head through our 6 style. And it's really, I think one of the first places is to just realize our desire. Maybe just to get some, a good practice would be solitude and silence, where we just sit with the question, what is my desire? What are my desires? And just be with that and let that question ruminate, because we are good ruminators. 9s can ruminate till the cows come home, right? So ruminate with the question, what is my desire? Sit with it and see what begins to emerge from that. And then don't just identify that, but then respond to that, which we can get to in a second. But I was recently, as a practice, just trying to engage my head with this issue of how can I realize desire. So I was actually listening to some music and reading the lyrics of the music. So I went to Sleeping at Last and was listening to the Style 9 song, and I was just kind of engaged. I was just gripped by this one line in the song, and it goes like this: it looks like empathy to understand all sides, but I'm just trying to find myself in someone else's eyes. And I just, that line just like jumped out at me, and I just sat with it, and I just kind of let myself be with that for a while, and it really came to life, which helped engage the next place to bring harmony in my own life. But important for us as 9s is to engage our 3, our heart, our 3 style. And as I listen to that song, which I think is another great practice, is to try to just engage our emotions. To be with something like music is a great practice. And as I listened to that music, listened to that song, I just noticed emotion just emerging around not just that lyric that I just read, but other parts of that song, and just being with that and being with desire. One of the things that I also like to do to engage heart is at times I'll be in a conversation, a discussion, and the conversation will begin to feel like I'm being a little bit crowded as a 9, and internally I know I've got an opinion to put forth regarding a certain situation. I will literally make the statement kind of jokingly, because that's what we'll do as 9s sometimes, is jokingly say something to try to make sure there's no conflict when we say it. But I jokingly said, I'll say, in fairness to me, and then go ahead and state my opinion. But to engage our head, our heart, and our gut, and bring our full self to our desire. See, because nobody wants us to lose our peaceful presence. Nobody wants us to lose, including all of us. We don't want to lose our stability, that calming presence that we bring, the empathy, the kind of respect for all voices in the room. But we want to do it while bringing our own desire. We don't want to lose ourselves and not bring ourselves, our best self, to the table. So that requires action. That requires engaging not just our gut, not just our home space, but also our heart and our head. So let's be people of action and awakening as 9s. So I want to invite you to the following videos. The one will be up next, and it's been great to be with you all for a few minutes today.